I just finished our taxes to the point where I needed to include my wife's information. I mean business information. I told her that I will soon be paying taxes and I need her income, expenses, and blah, blah, blah. When I had done all I could, I reminded her that I needed it, and our taxes were waiting for her to finish her business. Now you must understand one thing about my wife. If I remind her of anything, she gets angry. Irrationally angry. As if I dare remind her of something. She was freaking out whether she did it or not. So, after 3 weeks of waiting, I grabbed her laptop and looked to see if she even had some kind of spreadsheet or software for keeping records. Of course she didn't, but her messaging app was open. Now, I could have been a good husband and let it go, but I was mad at her, so I decided to see if I could get some gossip about her friends. I didn't expect to find messages from one of her coworkers trying to convince her to meet him for sex. I read back to the beginning and found that he had been working quite hard on her for over a month. She accepted his attention and encouraged him to some extent without shutting down communication. Each message exchange I read pissed me off more and more, so after reading the last message where she told him that his dirty talk turned her on, I sent him the following message on her behalf. To hell with this. Let's meet. Get a room at Motel N6 and I'll be there at 3. I pressed send and was about to prepare for battle when I panicked. If she has the app on her phone, she will receive a notification when it responds. I ran upstairs and took a deep breath when I saw her dozing. Her phone was on the table, so I grabbed it, brought it to her face to open it, and rushed to the kitchen. I opened the app and saw that he responded. Finally! You won't be able to walk when I'm done with you. Obviously, I'm dealing with some real romantic shit. I deleted the last message from my phone, then turned off the computer and called my friend Axel. Hey, Johnny. What's going on? Axel, I need you to meet me at Motel N6 at 2:45. Hi, dude. I like you and all that, but not that much. It's funny. Look, one of Meg's coworkers is trying to get into her pants and I'm going to stomp him like a bag of dirt. Cool. See you soon. I laughed at his agreement. That's why I called him. He was my neighbor growing up and we did all kinds of crazy shit. He was a brawler while I was a talker. I could talk my way out of any situation, but Axel could beat the snot out of anyone. His name was Donald, but he didn't think that sounded tough enough. He chose Axel after looking at a list of car parts. He is one of my most loyal friends. It's perfect for what I need today. I took her phone with me in case he texted her and left her to nap. I'll talk to her about this later. I saw Axel's truck in the motel parking lot. It suddenly occurred to me that I had no idea what this guy looked like, but that was settled when he came out with the phone to his ear. Her phone rang on the seat of my car. I punched Axel and walked over to follow the guy into the room. Is that the bastard? He asked. Yes. What are we doing? I decided to hit him a couple of times and tell him to stay away from her. Understood. No murder. We laughed and caught up with him as he opened the door. Axel kicked the door open and I ran in, surprising my chewing ass. What the? That was all the guy managed to say before my fist slammed into his jaw. Damn, that hurt and it looked like I broke my finger. Axel pushed past me and kicked him in the balls. He got it pretty well, as it didn't move. Axel picked him up and threw him on the bed. Hey, idiot! Axel slapped him. What do you guys want? Take my wallet here. Shut up, asshole, I shouted and feigned a blow, making him flinch. Do you think it's normal to persuade a married woman to have sex? Oh, shit. Are you her fucking husband? Axel smiled and pulled out a set of brass knuckles from his pocket. He jumped back as far as he could and extended his arms. Okay, I'm sorry. If you leave now, I won't say a word to the cops. Just leave, okay? I won't talk to your wife anymore. I shook my head. Axel smiled and cracked his knuckles. What? What more do you want? I saw the urine darken the front of his jeans. I laughed through the pain and said, Look, he shit his pants. Axel laughed. Dude, I was going to punch him in the dick. Now there's a puddle there. Do you see what you've done? You ruined my friend's fun. How are you going to make it up to him? I'm sorry. Listen, what do you want? He groaned. I looked at Axel. Revenge? He nodded. Revenge? Oh, shit, groaned the bag of dirt. Take off your clothes, said Axel. What? No, Axel put the brass knuckles on his fingers. He began to undress comically, quickly. He stood naked in front of us, and we laughed at his little friend. Seriously? Were you going to satisfy my wife with this? I looked at Axel, and he shook his head. Okay, asshole. Out. What? Where to go out? Do you want me to leave naked? Axel and I nodded in unison. This was not the first time we took revenge on someone. Bastards! He shouted and headed towards the door. Axel followed, and I grabbed his wallet and keys. Run home, you bag of shit! Ooh, he groaned. Axel punched the door and left a dent in it. How is your hand, fool? Damn, dude, it hurts like hell. I looked at my finger, and it was swollen. I think I broke a joint or something. Come on, dude. I'll keep you company in the emergency room. An X-ray showed that the finger was not broken, only dislocated, and needed to be put back into place. The local anesthetic injection hurt like hell, but after a couple of hours I came out with my finger in a splint. I think the doctor's lecture was more painful than a finger. He called me an idiot a couple of times and said that grown men don't fight. I nodded in agreement to shut him up and walked out happy. I hope that asshole left my wife alone. I walked home and Meg was already up and angry. Have you seen my phone? I can't find it anywhere. I tossed her the phone and went to the kitchen to get a beer. I just listened to her tirade about why I had a phone and drank my beer in one gulp. I interrupted her ranting with a burp and opened another bottle. I continued to ignore her and went into the living room and turned on the highlights of the golf tournament. I didn't know what it was about golf commercials, but I always felt like I needed to buy new clubs. I mean, when I watched any other commercial, I wasn't going to buy what they were advertising, but golf clubs must have been my kryptonite. Asshole! She shouted. Are you going to tell me what the hell happened to your arm and why you had my phone all day? I sighed and pointed at the TV. Tiger comments, Can you be quiet for a minute? Fuck Tiger Woods! I paused the TV and turned to her. Tell me about Waylon Burns. Waylon Burns? He's just some jerk at work, she moaned. I shook my head. Listen, am I quoting correctly? Oh, Waylon, you make me so wet when you write something like that. Well, it's pretty close anyway. You were rummaging through my phone. You're an asshole. I showed her the middle finger with the splint on it and nodded. Yes, I think so. Oh, Johnny, you stupid ass. What did you do? I dealt with good old Waylon. Now it's your turn. But I'm not sure what to do with you yet. Just as she was about to say something, the doorbell rang. Keep quiet for now, I said, and headed towards the door. I opened it and saw two of our local guys in blue. One of them was my friend Jimmy, and with him was a guy I knew from my bowling league. Hi, guys, come in. They followed me into the house, and Jimmy said, John, we are very sorry, but we are here on official business. Hello, Meg. I sat down and took a sip of beer. Sit down, guys. You know I'm not going to quarrel with you. They sat down, and Jimmy continued. John, we picked up a naked man running down 7th Street. His name is Waylon Burns. Do you know him? I shrugged and said, Well, not that I know, although I met him once. I grinned at my wife as she watched the exchange in shock. He says you and another guy beat him up and forced him to walk home from the motel naked. I laughed. You know me, Jimmy. I'm a lover, not a fighter. He chuckled and said, Yes. Tell me what happened to your hand. Oh, this? I tripped over a damn garden hose and sprained my finger trying to break my fall. Right, honey? She looked at me like I was crazy and said, Yes, I left the hose and he tripped right over it. Any idea why he might blame you for his, predicament? Asked another officer. I think his name is Kevin, but I couldn't remember exactly and felt awkward about it. Meg spoke. He sexually harassed me for about a month, Jimmy. I think he might be trying to isolate Johnny from me. Jimmy nodded. Did you know about this, John? I shook my head and stared at Meg. No, but Meg and I are going to talk about her secrets with me. Jimmy looked at his partner and said, Well, it seems we heard everything. If anyone investigates this and finds anything linking you to the situation, we will have to apprehend you. Do you know what I mean? I nodded and stood up. I shook their hands with my good hand and said, I hope you find the guy who did this, Jimmy. He grinned at me. Yes, but the problem is that we are so overworked and understaffed that this may remain unresolved. There's bigger fish to fry, you know. I patted him on the back. I understood you. Kiss Jill. Certainly. Just keep your nose clear, please. I nodded and closed the door as they walked to their car. Oh my God, Johnny. You're lucky to be friends with most of the guys on the police force. I shrugged and went back to the TV to listen to Tiger's interview anyway. Our city is small, less than 5,000 people, depending on whether you look at the latest census or the signs on the city boundaries. I actually knew most, if not all, of the cops and their women. We all grew up together, or I was friends with their siblings or cousins. Hell, I probably saved one or two of their asses when we were kids, and their mouths were writing checks their asses couldn't cash. Like I said, I could talk my way out of almost anything. I turned around when the doorbell rang again. God, Meg, today it's like Grand Central Station. Axel squeezed inside with a case of chilled Molson. It better be cold, dude. I just opened the last bottle, I said. I don't buy warm beer. You know it. He put the beer in the refrigerator, and I wondered what he pulled out to find the place. Meg will definitely be angry. He returned to the room, looked intently at the stunned Meg, and handed me the bottle. Who were the blue ones who were leaving when I arrived? Jimmy and I think Kevin. Oh? How are Jill and the kids? Don't know. He, however, interrogated me about our fun this afternoon. Yeah? Yes. Well, since you're still sitting here, it means everything is fine with us. He grinned. I nodded. We're fine if there are no cameras in the motel. I didn't see any cameras. Me too. He looked at Meg and frowned. So, you're looking for adventure, huh? Your friend has about half as much as your old man. Next time you should choose something better. I'm not looking for adventure, she shouted. We laughed and she ran out of the room. What are you going to do with her? I told him the whole story back in the emergency room. He told me to either kick her out or have her greet me at the door every day with gifts below her waist. I liked the last option better. Oh shit, Tiger turned on. Take a break, fool. I laughed and said, no problem. Tiger had already been dodging questions for 10 minutes. Are you coming back or retiring? When Meg returned to the room. Meg, could you get me another beer, baby? Axel asked, shaking the empty bottle. Meg was about to tell him where to put the bottle when she saw the brass knuckles he was twirling on his fingers. These are completely new. I wanted to give them a test run with this guy today. Take them away, buddy. She's not impressed, I grinned. I just wanted to make a point, he sighed, putting them in his pocket. She needs to know that we are not going to put up with her cheating. Technically, she wasn't cheating, I said, knowing it was weak. Not yet. We could joke around all we wanted, but I had no idea what to do with her, and Axel's presence was simply delaying the inevitable fight that I knew was about to begin. After a few beers, he stood up and said, Okay, bro, I see that you need me to get out of here so you can talk to this slut. I stood up, and he saw my anger. Move away. She's a slut until she proves otherwise, and you haven't received the proof yet. If you need me or my couch, you know where to find me. I hugged him, and he walked out the door. It's good to have friends, whether they were assholes or not. I pulled a nice sirloin steak out of the freezer and an ear of corn out of the refrigerator. After cooking the steak in my cast-iron skillet, I sat down to eat and wondered where Meg was. I was just cutting into some delicious cow flesh when Meg came into the kitchen. Where is my? She asked quietly. In the freezer, I answered, and moaned with delight when the meat touched my tongue. She sighed and sat down next to me. I never had sex with him. I know. I answered with my mouth full. You didn't have to beat him up. I hit him once. This doesn't mean beating him up. Why are you acting like a jerk over nothing? I threw the fork down, which made her jump. A trifle? Is that what you think you were doing? Okay, let's see what you think of me doing the same thing. I took my phone and called my sister Meg. Her sister was younger, prettier, and bisexual. She teased me mercilessly, knowing that I was 100% faithful to my dear wife. It was sadistic fun for her to let me look up her skirt or shirt, and once she even bit me on the ear on the dance floor at a wedding. All to piss me off. Hello, Carla. Listen, could you talk dirty to me for a couple of minutes? Carla happily picked it up and buzzed something wild. You son of a bitch, give it to me! Meg screamed. She grabbed the phone from my hands and brought it to my ear. I guess her sister kept up the obscenities because Meg turned green and freaked out. I laughed. Meg was so upset. That drool was running down her chin as she looked down at me and breathed heavily. Why are you so angry? I wasn't going to have sex with her. I shrugged. It looks like you're acting like a jerk over nothing. It's not the same thing. You did this on purpose. I laughed and took a bite of steak. So you let someone talk dirty to you and you accidentally got horny, so what makes that okay? Do you believe the nonsense you're spewing, or do you just think I'm an idiot? I didn't let him do anything, she screamed. Yes, fine. Show me the message where you told him to stop because married women shouldn't have conversations like that. I told him on the phone, she sighed. Yes, this was his message at night. When did you talk to him? Surely not today. I don't know. I guess I meant what I was going to tell him. Stop lying while you're behind. I'm close to throwing you out of the house and you're not helping your cause. You have to convince me why I don't throw you out on the street and divorce you. I'll give you an hour to think about it. I don't want to ruin my dinner. I think she realized that I was serious and turned and left the kitchen. The stupid thing about no-win situations is that no one can tell you what the right decision is, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I finished my dinner, grabbed another beer, and realized how late it was. With all the events, the day flew by unnoticed, and the time was already approaching for me to go to the hayloft. I walked into the living room and didn't see Meg, so I plopped down on the couch and turned on the news. While some pretty blonde was telling me about truckers blocking the roads, Meg walked in. John? Oh, I knew she was serious. She never called me John. I looked at her and said nothing. John? Oh, Johnny. I don't know what to do, baby. I swear, I have never cheated and would never cheat. I guess I was just delighted that someone was interested in me and didn't stop him in time. Did you understand this? How do I know you won't succumb to his charms in the end? She sat down and cried. All her previous indignant anger disappeared. Honey, you have to believe me. I know you don't trust me, but trust me. I've never lied to you. I don't even know that for sure. How do I know you haven't had an affair before and this is just another asshole? She dropped to the floor in front of me, knelt down and laid her head on my lap. I'm so sorry. Tell me how to fix this. I'll do anything, I laughed. I'm glad you find this funny, she moaned. I feel bad. Well, Axel gave me an idea that I liked. How you can make it up to me. As for regaining my trust, damn if I know. I'll tell you what. Unlock your phone, give me all the passwords, and let me look at your correspondence. Maybe this will help if there is nothing else there. She slid up and hugged me. You will see that there are no other men there. Then she frowned. What? Well, you'll find me telling my girlfriends things that you might not like. Sorry, but I need to vent to someone when you're pissing me off. You'll find me calling you an asshole sometimes. But you will also see how much I tell my girlfriends that I love you. Fair enough. Lord knows, I also sometimes complain about you to my friends. We kissed a little and then she asked, Dear, what did Axel suggest I do to make amends to you? I smiled. You can start this right now. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.